Hi, and welcome to your favorite podcast of the Temple Shalom League, the video capsule recaps of your Mets. I want to start by apologizing to all the followers of this because of this belated post or video recap. But as you know, when we have this long break within the league that happens between April and May and what have you, between some tournaments and of course Mother's Day that we all celebrate, it's kind of hard to keep focusing on the league and then just take a well-deserved break from activities that are on a regular basis. So personally, I took advantage to take the family to what is going to be our new home in the East Bay in California, as you can see in some of the pictures that we enjoyed that time. My wife's already doing some work just to brainwash the kids and not have any more Texans, which I'm all opposed to, by the way. But nonetheless, I think everyone was enjoying and having a well-deserved break. And the Mets, particularly, right? Because we're in a bit of a losing streak, so it couldn't be better just to hit the pause button, try to figure out these things internally, and come re-energized and with all our batteries charged to take what is going to be the last part of the season. And speaking about seasons, right? I'm feeling a little bit of a deja vu because unfortunately, this is the third year in a row in which, when I'm doing the week 9 recap, the Mets are with a gas station record, meaning the 7-Eleven. So one can wonder, hey, what's are you doing? Is it power of the consistency? Who knows, right? We have made it in the last two playoffs, so I'm just going to stick with the positive, saying that we have this record and we managed to make it. So I'm only hopeful that 2026 we're going to at least be in the playoffs, and then after that we're just going to start rolling. But nonetheless, negative record, difficult just to continue the momentum, and we have to make sure that we actually turn things around pretty quickly if we want to be in the next stages into this tournament. And talking about someone that actually capable of doing that, and one of the best coaches that I have seen in this league, JJ Ise is the guy that actually had the honor to interview in the past week recap, and it was quite a fun interview. Like I said in the interview, we don't spoiler alert. The only guy that actually drafted me twice, so definitely special place in my heart in this league. Definitely, JJ has for me. But also, he came with a very nice gesture at the end of the interview. And I just want you to enjoy one of the most warm and kind interviews that I have had so far by doing this little pet project. So I hope you enjoyed this interview that's coming next.
And we're live on week 9, I believe, in the interviews of this 2026 spring season. Today, I'm with Hall of Famer and the captain of the Expos, JJ Ise. Welcome, JJ. Did I say your last name well?
You did.
You
Good job.
see,
Good
it
job.
took me 11 years to say it right. So I always like to start the interviews by asking the person that is sitting in this hot chair what this week represents to them, what it makes you to wake up early every single Sunday just to come out and play slow pitch softball. So,
I've been in this league since 2011, and just the people, the competition is great. You know, playing is great, winning is great, but the relationships that you make along the way, and the people that you bond with, and the different people you get to play with every season, it's just a way to get away from all the stresses and worries of the week. Last week was extremely special for me. With my mom passing the week prior, and being able to come out here and having the support system with the people here, it's just been amazing. People that have reached out to me, the family that I've created, the Latin family I've created that have taken me in. It's been so great to me. And I just want to give back everything I can to the league.
yeah, I feel the same. I didn't know about your mom, so I apologize for that one. But yeah, I want to say that that's what is most special about this, right? So it's just a family. I mean, regardless if you're winning or losing, the fact that you have those friends coming to you to support you in any aspect of life to me means a lot as well. You know that one thing that people don't know that have not been a coach is the complexity of being a captain, right? From building your strategy from draft day all the way to getting to the subs and what have you, right? And we can spend hours and hours talking about that, but I want to give a little glimpse to people that have not been a captain. What is your strategy when it comes to draft day? how do you approach the whole situation? Not only from the weeks prior to that to get the mock up to actually go to the draft and then exit in the draft room and feeling so confident that you actually drafted a good team. So if you can explain everyone how you go through that process.
That's a good question because I think every captain is different as far as how they build their team and go about the process. For me, I think what's worked really well is I create my draft board with guys that I know that I rate according to my scale. That may be rated differently on other people's scale, and it may have to do with chemistry, playing with them, knowing them, a comfort level. It has sometimes to do with position-based decisions. And I think, going into it, just finding the right mix of guys. I like building a dugout because every Shalom season, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to go through tough spots. You're going to go through high spots. Having a group that really can come together and pick each other up and be positive, even through the hard times, I think is how you build a strong team. And having guys that fit that mold and have that personality to be able to stay positive, to be able to pick one another up and just continue to do their part to make the team better, I think is how I go about building it.
And one thing that you haven't noticed, I've been making a remember of a lot of the things that I have played. This guy over here is the only captain that have drafted me twice. So I'm definitely in that board, or at least I was before I was a captain. So I really enjoy playing with you, Jay.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was. We had a really good run with the Orioles. And matter of fact, I have something to give you because I know you're leaving.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure to give you something that I have that's been special that sits on my on my shelf. This is the ball from the 2018 Orioles with everybody's signature on it that they gave me at the end of that season, and I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, thank
I want you to
you.
keep it and take it with you, and
No.
hopefully it's a good memory. It was my first year as a captain.
That was your first year?
My first year as a spring captain. We had a really good team and great group of guys, and just came up a little short.
No, I know, bro. I said in one of my episodes, this has been the most talented team that I have been so far, for sure. Right?
It was a very talented team. We had we went to the playoffs. It was back when we had the old format and playoff format, and we lost to the champions,
Yes.
Hoff's team, the Astros. The first game 3-2 on Field 5 in Plano, and then we fought our way all the way back. We won 3 games in one day.
Yep.
And made it back. We had to beat the Astros twice. We run ruled them the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second game, we just came up short, and they ended up winning the championship.
Exactly, against the Grasshopper, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So that was a hell of a season for sure. And speaking about Gabe, I always bring this to when I finish my interviews. So we're gonna be making some ball exchange. This one, it is for all the followers. This is to the only captain in Shalom that trusts me twice, as I said before. So
that's
something
I love it.
So we're both gonna have something on our shelf too to keep on it. So
appreciate it.
Cool. Any last word that you want to share with people watching this episode? To me is all about just bringing people to sign up into the league, how great it is, which you actually alluded to before, but something that you want to say to everyone watching this episode about this league.
I think the league is evolving. I think it's evolved a lot since I started playing. I think it's going to continue to evolve. And it all is just based on getting new talent and having new people come in, and every year. And look, the league is not a fit for everyone. Some guys come in and they realize it's not a fit for them and they move on, and that's okay. We want the people, the right men and women, to join the league and experience what all of us get to experience every Sunday. And so I think, if you're not a part of the league, I think you should.
No, we're
here. We got wind. So I think just give it a shot. Come out and try. Be a sub. See if it's for you or not. And I think you'll discover that it's unique. There's no other league like it anywhere. And so I think there's been some really good players. You asked. I think you asked before some of the guys their favorite players they played with. I didn't make a list. But there's been some really good guys that I've played
like
with.
Dan Neal. Everyone except me did it, right? Because he told me like 50 people in that interview.
Yeah, Dan's not on my list. No, I don't know that I've ever played on a team with Dan actually, but there's guys that I've gotten to play with that I hadn't gotten to play with, and some I've gotten to play with multiple times. But I guess the good part of being a captain is you get to pick the guys you
Exactly
play with,
right.
right? And so the guys you really, really love playing with, or you want to play with that you haven't played with, you can draft them. So
Exactly. And sometimes you can make some reach, like I said, I did last year, which because I never played with Sardi and I picked him as a three. He ended up now as a seven. So you can see I make a reach, but I made that conscious twist just to make sure I wanted to play with him at least once. So
I think it's a little ironic that we changed that your idea was to change the playoff format and your team's benefited from it every year. So good job.
yeah, right. It's all about you, right? Well, thank you all for watching this. Thank you, JJ, for spending
Thanks for
some
being
time here.
on.
I'm truly gonna miss you, man.
We miss you too, buddy. Good job.
What a nice gesture from JJ. Like I said in one of the last dance sections, the Orioles remains to be the most talented team that I have been in my career in Shalom. And having now the opportunity to keep that ball that we all signed for you, JJ, truly means a word for me. And it's going to be part of my treasures that I will keep on my Shalom shelf for sure. And speaking about treasures and things that remember Shalom, in the last week that we play, I had the opportunity to remember the 2024 finals because the Mets were facing the Royals. Quite the opposite as how that final went a couple of years ago, because that was a very low scoring affair, very close matchups all around. In this one, there were more than 40 runs that were scored, right, in just one game. So definitely a lot of hitting happened between the Royals and the Mets, who happened to face themselves in the same field that they faced in the finals, coincidentally. And they scored 15 runs in the first inning, so you can imagine how big of a punch that means to any team. Nonetheless, after 3 innings, we were down by just 4 runs. So we tried to come back, and I think we hit pretty well. But unfortunately, that first inning killed us from a momentum standpoint. Uh, that said, we ended up to build a lot of good hitting and good practice. However, that didn't carry over on game two against the Rangers, who managed to shut us down 11-0. So that was a little of a second punch, put us on our longest losing streak. Nonetheless, it is better to go into this losing streak now than at the end of the season. And I think this is the momentum for the do or die and get ourselves into the playoffs. And like I said at the beginning, right? 7-11 has taken us to two playoffs runs. So why would not this 7-11 take us to the same run? Uh, Recognizing the best players, Gary Granado went 3 for 5 with 3 runs, couple of bombs, and 5 RBIs. Gary Frank went 2 for 5 with a run. And a good defense all around. And I just want to make a special thank you and highlight to the superstar Gilberto Ramaya, who went 5 for 5 with 3 runs, a double, 2 bombs, and 5 RBI. You don't get any better than that when it comes to subs. But I know why you're here. You're just wanted to see what the last dance looks like. So let's jump into what is your favorite section, or at least mine, the last dance. See you there. The Mets, the Rangers, the Cowboys, and Venezuela, the rebranded room of Mateo and Bruno. You know where I'm at. Your favorite section, the last dance. Today is not a remake of what I spoke in a couple of episodes because this is the second edition of the Marauders. A complete different edition in so many regards. For starters, this was my first spring season as a cap. Spring season is quite a different animal when it comes to fall. That's for sure. It was definitely the season that taught me how to be resilient. Some of you might remember that in that season we started with a 0-16 record. Yes, 0-16. So we lost in 8 consecutive weeks, and we happen to have a pretty good team, right? I'm not having any regrets when it comes to the draft, but sometimes that had happened, right? And if something you can learn from those seasons is how do you build upon? What are the things that you want to learn as a coach that you would like to do different, right? And definitely there were too many things. right? For one, just to make sure that the we versus me mentality is always there. I had in that team a good friend, Scott Lawrence, into that one. So he was also feeling those pains of not being able to win. And we just came to be playing together with Aaron, picked the year before, right? So that was one of the biggest learning to always continue fighting, right? You might feel that, well, 0-16 is like, this is done. What am I doing here? Quite the opposite. Continue to give your best every single chance and knowing that there's always that next opportunity. And also trying to transmit that with your team and make sure that they have a fun time. It's not easy to have a fun time when you spend 3 months without being able to win, that's for sure. I know that you're heading to the minis. We couldn't manage to get out of the minis. Nonetheless, that's the type of seasons that makes you different as a coach. Uh, to evaluate things, to see things in perspective, and try to make sure that you build upon what you're preaching and what you're saying, right? And of course, putting that in practice in the future season. So I want to say to all my Marauders 2021 friends, that was an interesting season for sure. But what I will say is that in spite of ending with 5-21, I want to say that's not the worst record in the spring, by the way. Believe it or not, uh, we managed to never have meltdown when we're in the dugout, right? And that speaks volumes now about the way that we embrace such a tough season, right? At the end of the day, like I always said, this league is about building memories, right? And this is another memory, right? A memory of not being able to win and trying to keep our heads up and trying to fight for our next opportunity, right? So whenever you are in those situations, and trust me, you will be in one of those situations at some point in your career in Shalom. And trust me, there's always going to be a team like that in every single season. Probably not to the 0-16, but when things doesn't go your way, make sure that you remember that you need to keep continue giving your best. That nobody's entering the field just to not to win. And you don't have to blame others, but rather lifting them up, right? And I know that the minis gave hope to teams like that. That's no longer the case, which personally I'm disappointed to see that. But regardless of it, make sure that you always lift each other up and remember that things will go for the better. And if you're putting your best, there's nothing to be regret of. Bright side on the Marauders, that's the last team from which Scott Lawrence plays before joining the Hall of Fame. So I can only imagine that when he got inducted, he was using the Marauders, right? What else, right? Kid aside, like I said, try to always remember and build upon those tough seasons because that's what you're truly going to grow. Uh, Not next week, but tomorrow, we're going to be facing the Giants and the Padres. Like I said, the Mets, we need to turn this ship around if we want to make it. And I'm confident that we will. And we're going to secure one of those top six spots and give our best to win the 2026 championship. But regardless if we win or not, remember, you want to have the time of your life. Bring your kiddos, bring your wife, because the Mets are going to guarantee you a fun time. So